There's a massive PS5 update available right now containing the M.2 SSD upgrade, finally, alongside with some brand new features. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Tools you'll need: a screwdriver. I highly recommend a screwdriver kit. This has 142 bits. You'll never know when you need a screwdriver for something. I'll throw a link in the description to this. It's very cheap, but if you want a singular screwdriver, I'll also link that as well. You will need the NVMe drive itself. This one is the Samsung 980 Pro. This drive itself is going to bring even faster speeds to your PS5, making it faster than the internal storage. On top of that, you will need a heatsink. Now, unless your NVMe drive has a built-in heatsink, you won't need this, but this drive in particular doesn't have a heatsink, so you will need to pick up this. Opening up your PS5 can be a little tricky, but it's really simple. Let me show you guys properly. So this is from my right side. I'm gonna put it down, and you want to just pull it down, and that's it. It comes off like butter, basically. And then this plate right here, this is where you access your NVMe drive. Now, I'm going to take that screwdriver we were just talking about earlier, and even this screwdriver is magnetic, so you don't have to worry about the screw or losing it. And then we're just going to unscrew this, and then you have different various sizes. Now, I almost forgot, I have to install the heatsink. That's very important. And then you have the thermal pad, right? So you want to unpeel this. Okay, so once you unpeel the thermal pad, you attach it. But then you don't want to cover the hole on the top, so you need a little room so you can be able to screw that the screw in. And then on the other side, the NVMe drive goes right on the back. So there is a hole on the top. You want to kind of align that with that, but you also don't want to cover the connector. So I would say like around here. So like this. The heatsink keeps things cool. Now when you're installing your drive, you want to look for the notch. So you have the connectors here, but then there's like a little breaking point. You want to align that breaking point with the M.2 drive. And then you don't want a large heatsink because you want to be able to close the PS5 door. So this is perfect. And finally, reverse the steps. And that's it. 2 terabytes plus the internal storage. You're good to go. Now, when purchasing an NVMe SSD for the PS5, you gotta ask yourself, 1 terabyte might seem nice now, but as time goes on, the games are only getting bigger and bigger. So that 2 terabyte might not be a bad idea. Why would you spend $130 or $150 for a 1 terabyte versus getting 2 terabytes? It costs a lot more, but you might run yourself at a roadblock. I'd rather spend the extra money now than worrying about it later on. 1 terabyte is nice, but 2 terabyte is the sweet spot. It's an arm and a leg for the price, but if you can spend that little bit of cash, I highly recommend 2 terabytes of storage. Like I demonstrated, you will need to have a heat sink just to keep that SSD nice and cool. I'm gonna link down below 5 SSDs that will work perfectly. Now, the one that I use the Samsung 980 Pro. That's the absolute best performance. Now, the only problem with that is it's pretty pricey, especially if you go with the 2 terabyte. and you will need that heatsink. At the number 2 spot, I recommend the Western Digital or the WD Black. Same thing like the Samsung, you get in a read speed of 7,000 megabytes per second. The write speeds will help with the installing speed, so if you want to transfer games from one drive to another, it will be faster. And even with updates too, it should be able to install the patches quicker if you have a faster drive. Sabrian is also a good brand. You just want to make sure you're getting a PCIe 4th generation drive, because anything below that, it will not work. You're gonna get an error message. And I want to mention the heatsink has to be low profile so you can be able to close the door. I recommend this one. I picked it up at my local Micro Center store. I haven't been to Micro Center in like a decade. If you want to save a little bit of money, you can go with an external hard drive and store your PS5 games on there, but you cannot play PS5 games directly from the external hard drive using USB. That's not going to work. You will need to get a M.2 SSD in order for that to work. And then whenever you're ready to play, you can transfer it back onto the PS5 SSD, the internal storage. So you can do that. That's an affordable option. Of course, I recommend the external drive, just so you're not transferring back and forth, and then that takes time. That little bit of time will add up. But if you want to save a little bit of money, you can go with that route. It took Sony a while to enable this feature, but better late than never. And we live in a time where not a lot of people have the PS5, and it's getting ready to be a year since release. And if you're still looking for a PS5, I wish you the best of luck. And thank you guys so much for watching. Drop a like on this video so you can push it out to the YouTube algorithm. And make sure you guys subscribe with notifications on and comment down below what you guys think. Until next time.